It's 10:13. But I wanted to talk about Masters of the Air episodes 1 and 2. Episode 3 is out now, but I'm going to wait till tomorrow to watch it because it is late. Cheers. Appreciate you being here.
Cheers.
Yeah. Before
Got
we
aqua.
get crazy, that's not beer, it's green tea.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it's bigger than you thought.
From the picture, it looks so small.
Yeah.
That thing is massive.
So this is a 105. The flak that the Germans were shooting at the was 120 and 88. So they had 88 and 120 millimeters. So this is a good medium between the two flak rounds that were being shot up and everything. And I don't know if you knew that the way flak works is it's a projectile that explodes up at a certain altitude, and it's just shooting little metal shards everywhere. And enough flak would kill crew members and whatnot, or possibly hit like a hydraulic line, and that was the purpose of it. They weren't like trying to hit the aircraft, but just get next to it and then blow up and everything. It was pretty crazy. More people were shot down due to the flak than actually aircraft were.
I think that's something that the TV show actually did right, was showing how terrifying flak actually was.
Well, I was listening to a podcast and they were saying like you could storm Normandy, but there was cover. Like there wasn't a lot of cover on the beach, but there was some. In the air, there's nothing. Like there's nowhere you can't hide from the flak. Uh, there's nowhere to hide. There's no foxholes or anything. Like you're in Bastogne, you got that big old foxhole, whatnot, but not up in the air. Nope.
Terrifying.
And there's
I
nothing.
felt.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
You can't shoot it down. Like you could shoot at the flak. Sometimes people would be so in this book I'm reading, shot down, whatnot. It's about a B-17 crew. Sometimes people would just get crazy and start shooting at the flak and everything.
Hmm.
Yeah. What were you saying?
I was just saying, I think that was something that the show did really good,
Mm.
was showing how terrifying being up in the air actually was.
Hmm. Well, like just the what's the correct way to put this? The what is it where you're the discipline of keeping your planes close because that's the only way you survive.
Hmm.
I believe it's in the second episode, one of the crews gets hit and they're slowing down because they had to go to two engines. And so they decided to all stay back because if one plane's by itself, it's just going to get picked off. There's the strength in numbers, and it takes that whole because like if you're the one viewer in here and it's not Baleen, um, maybe for the people on YouTube later because this is going to blow up. But the Air Force, both of us are in that. Taking care of your wingman means a whole different thing up there back in 1943. Yeah. So I'm going to get the elephant out of the room first. I am
Oh
tired.
God.
I'm tired of people comparing this to Band of Brothers and the Pacific. I'm just tired of it. It's a different show, and it should be treated as such, in my opinion. That if you go into it wanting Band of Brothers 2, you're not going to get it. You're not. I've heard people say that they don't like it because the character development isn't there, this, that. It's 2 episodes. Like, if you only watched the first 2 episodes, you would hate Garnier in Band of Brothers. You would absolutely hate him. But then you see later on that he cared about his men. He did this and that and everything. It's, I don't know. Like, wait. Jesus. It pisses me off. One thing that I think Masters of the Air is doing better than Band of Brothers is having an age. They're portraying the characters better by age. Um, like Buck Compton looks old as hell, but he was 23 years old. you know, like he wasn't 30. Sergeant Lipton, it was actually Lipton in the show was talking about that. He was like, it was weird being portrayed by Donnie Wahlberg, who was 10 years older than me than when I was there in Normandy and everything. I think Masters of the Air is showing a good job of some of the immaturity and just the actions of what a 25-year-old would do if he was sent overseas, in my opinion.
Ignore me as
What
I
the fuck are
place this.
those shorts?
They're not shorts. Look at these things. And they got them for me. What are you talking about? Yeah.
What is that butterfly in the sky?
No, it's a hula girl.
Oh,
Palm trees.
well, you are in Hawaii.
I think they're cool.
Yeah.
And then it's my ramen shirt. Look at that. Hold on, hold on. I gotta take my headset off. Look at
Oh.
this.
Ramen. Everybody loves ramen. Everybody loves ramen.
I almost named our cat Ramen. Our new cat.
Not a bad name. Not a bad name.
That's what we were saying. Kind of like the name.
Okay. So your thoughts, episodes 1 and 2, just a brief thing, and then I have some bullet points I want to talk about.
Okay. First episode, I thought it was really good. I thought it was cool. At the very beginning, they started to introduce the characters. It wasn't like basic training. I thought it was probably going to start similar to, not to compare them, but I thought it was going to start how Bandit Brothers was in the sense that, okay, B-17s was kind of a newer aircraft in a sense. And so I thought it was going to show all these guys um, kind of building on the friendships. I thought it was going to be centered around their training uh, from beginning to end because aircraft was, per, kind of new to the whole war scene, even though it was the second time that it was used. But still, I thought it was going to be something that they'd introduce. Secondly, I think it was really cool to show kind of the dynamic and being in the Air Force, seeing how, like, our roots, how we got squadrons, how we got air executives, how we got um, kind of our rank structure. I thought that was really interesting from the Air Force perspective. Overall, the show was beautiful. I think it's amazing. Even though that they use CGI, the CGI looks amazing. It doesn't look like shitty CGI. I think it looks like great CGI. Especially that scene in the second episode whenever they're landing in, is it Scotland?
Yes.
Right? Oh my god, that was incredible. It looked
Yeah.
so real. It looks so
Mhm.
good too. But other than that, I like the show. I like where it's going. I'm
Yeah.
excited what they're going to do. Because if you read the story of Austin Butler's character, I can't remember which one he
Bucky.
is.
Bucky.
Bucky. His story is really interesting, and if you don't know anything about his story, just stay tuned for the series because it'll get really, really good.
Yeah. I mean, but the credits in the beginning, like kind of the opening and everything, kind of
Mhm.
gives it away. I kind of already know what's happening, but I don't want to know it yet. Um, why they didn't one, some of the things that people have complained about, which they want to have people who were there talking, like in Band of Brothers, but I don't think they remember that Band of Brothers was filmed in the early 2000s,
Mhm.
20 years ago. So the people who fought in the 8th Air Force are over 100 years old or right at 100. And so I think that's probably why they don't have a lot of them there. But another, their training was, so it was 9 months from like basic all the way to you were a paratrooper and everything. Flight school is a little, so the pilots, bombardiers, and navigators all went in for pilots, and the dropouts of pilot school went on to be bombardiers and then navigators. So everybody went to be a pilot, and then it was random at who was chosen to be a pilot, and then co-pilot, and then the other people who had washed out would be navigators and would go to bombardier school. And
Do you
then,
think?
what were you saying?
I was gonna ask. Do you think they're gonna mention enlisted pilots?
I didn't think there was that many.
I don't think there is that many, but I don't know if there was any in this group, but it would be kind of interesting to see.
If they had them, yeah. Mm.
But anyway, sorry,
Well,
sorry
the
to cut you
the
off.
rank structure in there they made everybody, like all the gunners and everything. The reason they're all NCOs was because NCOs got treated better in POW camps, and the chances of them like getting shot down was so significant that they're like, we got to make them all NCOs so they get treated better and everything. That's why that's the case. Why you have 19-year-old corporals and staff sergeants and all that. They're all sergeants and everything.
Oh, I never knew that. That's
Hmm.
actually interesting.
Yeah, it's that. If you were to follow one crew, it would be pretty boring. Like some of their training and everything, like it's not them like doing exercises or running up Kirahi. It's them doing touch and goes and frickin' the gunners doing their training and whatnot. Um, but you would only follow the 10 people. It's kind of different. I don't know if it would work the same.
Like if they followed 3 different crews, that would be pretty interesting. And then their center dynamic.
That you think most of the times, and they show it really well, is that they were constantly in and out. Like the one dude burned his hands by touching the gun, they got stuck, the frostbite, he's out. So they pop another guy in there, a replacement. Just the
Hmm.
air crews. So what would happen is you would have, they would call them the different crews. So you'd see Bucky's crew, Buck's crew, and that's, you would follow your pilot unless you were told like, hey, you're going on this one. And that's how they showed them getting woken up in the middle of the night, and that's how they knew like, oh, you're flying. So I thought that was pretty
Hmm.
interesting, and I'm learning that because this book starts from their training and everything, um, and all that. That's how I've been learning a whole bunch. I'm glad I read it. I'm almost done. I was hoping to get it done before January 31st. I want to read a book a month, but I've been slacking. Been
Or
slacking.
read a smaller book for February.
I could. I should. Smart.
Read the book Make Your Bed. It's a good book.
Dear God. Okay.
So let me ask you something else that is probably going to grind your gears. What did you think about the crew chief and his rank on his sleeve?
So first, I did. I asked. I talked about the. I'm a mechanic in the Air Force. You know that. But for the people who don't, we got one viewer. Yeah, boy. But I am mechanic, and so it was a good nod to be like, oh shit, they're recognizing the grounds crew. They're recognizing the crew chief and everything, and I thought that was dope. And then I looked on Reddit, and everyone was just like, they got his rank wrong, and they called him a corporal and everything, but he was wearing Master Sergeant stripes. And then I did a little quick Google, and he was a Master Sergeant. So I don't know if they wanted to call him a corporal, so it made him look younger. I don't think it's a PR stunt because we're doing PR for people who passed away 20 years ago. I don't know. Um, maybe it was just a mistake. In Band of Brothers, they killed a guy who lived for another 40 years after the war. So I don't know.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Blythe.
yeah, Colonel Blythe. Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe it was a mistake. But the nod to the grounds crew and the mechanics and everything and what they went through as well was pretty cool. I like that. I enjoyed that. And I'm hoping we still follow him. He actually wrote a book called The Forgotten Man, the Mechanic, by a story by Ken Lemons. So I'm trying to buy that and read it because I'm excited for that. Yeah.
Hmm.
But him getting
Gives you a no. Go ahead.
them getting his rank, like, I'll live with it.
One of those things you can live with.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of gives you a sense of pride being a crew chief. No.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, I mean, those guys were different. In the early days of the Army or of the Air Force, when we separated from the Army Air Corps, crew chiefs were putting some of their own paycheck into taking care of their plane because that's how messed up the funding was because the Army and all the split. Like they didn't have money at first. So they were taking their own paychecks to buy parts
Wow.
and stuff to take care of their aircraft. So that heritage is like that pride is not it's not the same.
Talk about strike funds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Significantly different. I don't know. Bro, I got a mortgage. Like, I can, bro, these Bidenomics, I can't be there. I can't be doing that. I ain't buying plane parts. Mm.
Shit's too expensive.
But it was nice to see them recognize other people than just the pilots and the air crew. Yeah. I thought so.
Mm.
hmm
We had a training day, a couple weeks ago or last week, one of the two, and they usually show this video at least once a year, twice a year about like CE and CE's history,
Yeah.
and it talks about like World War II, how we were helping maintain bases and maintaining airstrips that were bombed or attacked by the Germans or the Japanese or whoever, and it gives you a sense of pride, you know, um, about that stuff. Even
Yeah.
though I'm looking at getting out and things like that, that's still something, that heritage that you're kind of proud of just maintaining and building bases, seeing the old footage from the 40s and 50s of building these bases in World War II and the Korean War and even
Those
Vietnam.
coral
It's
runways.
really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah. Because
it's really cool.
they bombed the hell out of Wake and then like Iwo Jima, and then they
Hmm.
built a runway out of coral. They just like slapping bulldozers on top of tanks and said, "Do it," and it's pretty nuts. Yeah.
Mm.
A lot of logistics. That is what won the war. Actually, was the logistics and everything. Um, and everything. Yeah. Some key points that I wanted to talk about. We got two viewers up in here. What's going on? So mine was some of the accuracies that they did. Talked a little bit about it, but the planes and their accuracies, the age, maturity, um, which like the dance halls and all of that. That was actually real. They had multiple clubs. The one thing that I would say is that the USO officer clubs on the base did not have alcohol, which they kind of showed, but that's okay. Flak, and then all the uniforms and whatnot. And we already touched on the inaccuracies that I had found, which was the Ken Lemons rank, but I can live with that. It's not going to stop me from watching the show. I'll tell you that. It's not. It's not. So accuracy. For those of you who don't know, Baleen has been flying and whatnot. I don't know if you've done your solo yet.
No,
No, he has not done a solo, but he does solo on Flight Sim quite a lot.
I do, I do that. Yeah,
Um, what do you think of the flying scenes?
I thought. All right, I will be honest. The first episode, because they want to show like how everything is done. When they started going through the checklist,
Yep.
and it was little things that they were doing that they stuck to key details, and like I'll be honest, it gave me chills
Mm-hmm.
when they were like going through the checklist and they were following the checklist and doing the things appropriately, lining up, reading off the speeds just as co-pilots would,
Yep.
right? It gave me chills. I was like, it shows the appreciation of the aircraft. It's just like the Top Gun scene whenever uh Tom Cruise was getting ready to taxi. He's like taxiing with information alpha or whatever it was,
What the
you
hell was
know.
that?
And that was and she's messing with the cats, that thing.
Okay.
Yeah. but it's the little things, and I'll be honest, the first episode when they were going through the checklist and everything, it did give me chills. It was actually really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, the checklist, the way that they would use the checklist to deal with in-flight emergencies and whatnot. Like
mhm.
in the first 10 minutes, that engine was on fire and they started diving through the clouds and they
Yep.
were doing all that and then like going for the landing. Man, they are following like accuracy. They talked to pilots.
Mhm.
They went back and they got the checklist to do it and everything to do it right. It, I think they actually brought in the AAF, which is like, oh no, I can't believe I forgot. But it's like the ACF, the Air Commemorative or Commemorative CAF Commemorative Air Force. They are
Mm.
still flying a B-17 and whatnot, which is pretty cool. There's people who are qualified to fly some B-17s. Some people were upset they didn't fly actual B-17s to film. Um, I don't know if they've been inside one, but there's no fucking room to fit a camera crew. You're not. It doesn't make sense. And like, if you wanted to really go up there, and I don't think people understand how loud aircrafts really are, especially one with no insulation. You wouldn't be able to hear shit. The filming would be,
The sound would be awful.
it would be so bad. Yeah.
Something I wanted to ask your opinion on this. It was the first episode. Hold on, real quick before I get into it.
Okay.
Hold on.
We'll take a short break for these quick short messages.
That's better. It was bothering me. Um, was the crash scene whenever they crashed on the runway, and like how they all prepared for a crash and then quickly exited the aircraft. The
Yeah.
preparations that they made, taking the top hatch off and things like that.
Hmm.
How did you feel about that?
Well, my wife brought that up even more because she's a flight attendant and she's been going over that like herself and everything. And we get taught evacuating, but I thought it was pretty good. I will say, they didn't get taught. They never jumped out. A lot of people, the first time they ever deployed a parachute was when they were getting shot down.
Hmm.
They get shown little slides, but they didn't really get trained on evacuating. Like, of all, it just shows the infancy of the Air Force and the Army Air Corps, that they didn't think about these things, that we need to train them how to bail out. Like, they never thought of it. I guess they just thought the planes weren't going to get shot down and everything. But I thought that scene was good, the discipline and everything. They didn't have people just freaking out. But yeah, that crash landing is pretty good.
I thought what was crazy. So talking about it from a cinematic standpoint, like it's more graphic than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah,
Like when those dudes got shot in the face by the BF 109 or the 110s.
the
Can't remember
190s.
which one. 190s.
Yeah, the
That was
Focke-Wulf 190s.
that was wild,
Hmm.
and it's just so sad to see. Like the second plane that got shot down, maybe it was the third, but his co-pilot got just messed up in the face, and he looks over and his face is all jacked up, and then
Yeah.
the round struck. I'm assuming it was the oxygen, maybe,
Yeah, and started the
and it
flame.
just engulfed. It's just terrifying to think about,
And then
and then just crashing.
that was when they hadn't dropped their bombs because of weather, correct?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, so later in the war, they actually started working on, like, the lead aircraft would have radar and could find out where they were and to drop them. But I mean, we're still in 1943 where it's super infancy, um, which is real crazy. Yeah, like you said, um, like, they get shot, the oxygen ignites, which is a big problem, and then they still have all these freaking bombs on there.
Hmm.
Like, how much weight did the B-17 carry?
Mm.
Payload of a B-17 bomber was 8,000 pounds of bombs.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a max.
Holy
That
crap.
a short range would be 17,600 pounds. Yeah, but usually 8,000 pounds, which is just crazy for that to ignite, and they're up there and they don't get trained how to bail out. And they didn't. A
Mm.
lot of them didn't have their parachutes on, but they would have their harness, and then you just grab the parachute, attach it to the harness, and then bail out. Which makes the ball gunners' balls just be huge because they have to climb out of that fucking thing and then attach. Most of them died, sadly. In this book, um, spoilers, the ball gunner was actually from Houma, Louisiana, and he actually passed away. The 20 millimeter went straight to the ball turret, and then straight through the top of the plane. It's just rough.
Jeez.
This book has held nothing back, nothing. But it did talk about how injuries and deaths, and they would just be filling in crews and everything, and maybe that's why it's hard to do what, like, Band of Brothers did, was following everybody, was just because it was all mix and match on the different missions and the records and whatnot. Yeah, not sure, but I mean, we're still in episodes 2. Like, there's still so much more to go. 7 more episodes, and pumped.
Knowing the name of this, the Bloody 100.
Yeah, the bloody hundredth.
Yeah, it's gonna be heart wrenching, I think.
Well, so this is at a time when it was air parity, like air supremacy. We're not there yet. Like they held off the Germans, the Brits did, in the Battle of Britain, but now they're going into Germany, and they do not have fighter escort in 1943. They don't, because the P-47, the P-38 just do not have the long range capability, and the P-51 is still getting kinks worked out, and it doesn't have the drop tanks yet. Like the P-47 is good, but it doesn't have that long range capability, so it can only escort them over the English Channel, and then it has to turn around for fuel. Like the P-38 is good, but it is not as maneuverable as the BF-109, and it has both engines, which is also eating up a bunch of fuel. So until they get those drop tanks attached to the P-47 and the P-51, these bombers are by themselves. And I thought it was great that they're showing the flag, and then the flag stops, and you see a little bit of relief,
Yeah.
and then right away you see them get scared because they know exactly what that means if the flag stops. The only reason flak is stopping is if fighters are coming in. And then 109s, Focke-Wulf 190s screaming, just 20 millimeter cannons. Do you know? It took about 20 hits to take a B-17 down was what they calculated. Um, but if it hit before, they kept going from the tail, but then they were getting hit by the tail gunner and everything. So then they changed tactics, and then they started going straight for the pilots and everything. And that's where the term 12 o'clock high is, because they would go right at the nose and dive right down. And you'd have
Wow.
seconds to put those shots on, which you think like, oh, all the gunners had 50 caliber machine guns, so it would be two up on top. I actually have it in the book. So there's two in the back, two up top. Two waist gunners each had one. The ball turret had two. There was two cheek guns for the navigator, and the bombardier on the later models would get one, but on the E models or the F models that they're flying in Masters of the Air do not have the chin turret. So they don't have the same armament. So that coming at 12 o'clock is dangerous because you don't have the same armament to defend yourself. And that's why they have to be in there in close proximity.
And that's why it was called a fortress.
Yeah, because it could take a
A
lot of
flying
damage and
fortress.
still make it. Like they were on two engines and everything, which is pretty nuts.
Have you ever heard that story about how a German fighter escorted a bomber home?
Yeah, I have seen
Was
that.
that a part of that,
I don't
the
know. I
100th?
wonder if we will see that. I know you see little experts of the red tails and whatnot, so I'm sure they're going to talk about that, and then like how the red
I'm
tails.
excited for that.
Yeah,
I'm
I think
excited
that's
for
going to
that.
be cool. I just hope that they hope it I hope it was real. Does that make sense? Like I don't know. I don't want them to make up history. I don't think they will. I think they're probably going to stick to the history and everything. Yeah.
Mm.
You could tell they're F models because the G models were unpainted. They just polished the metal. The F models,
Oh,
they were
really?
painted. Yeah, they stopped painting them because. So the reason why you paint planes is to help with fight corrosion and whatnot. But
Yeah.
they were noticing that the planes were getting shot down at such a rate that they don't even need to worry about corrosion because the plane's just going to get shot to hell anyways. So they actually to paint a B-17 was 500 gallons of paint. So, I mean, that could probably weigh like 500 pounds. So it actually saved them quite a bit of weight um, on the later models as well once they stopped painting them, which is
Mm.
pretty cool. Yeah.
That's why
Which,
a lot of aircrafts just stick to white, I guess.
well, white paint is lighter. Yes, that's true. White paint is lighter than black paint. I don't exactly know how a color can be different. It doesn't make sense to me, but I'm not that smart of a person. I just
Mm.
remember things. But yeah. Another thing I wanted to talk about was the age and then the maturity. That um, so did it look like Damian Lewis was 25 years old in Band of Brothers? Because that's how old Dick Winters was when he landed on Normandy.
No, absolutely not.
No,
Dude
it
looked like
looks
he was 30 something.
yeah, it looks like he was 30. But I could say I think they did a good job with casting Buck, Bucky, these other pilots and whatnot, like they do look immature and like the singing, and he's like, I'm gonna sing, and this, like, but that was real. Like they were away from the war and they had these dances in these halls and they were always flirting. I think it was like a couple million British women got married to Americans and came home after the war. Yeah, it was pretty nuts. It talked about it in this book. The guy, um, Howard Snyder, was married, but all of his crew had girlfriends and whatnot. And it was pretty interesting. But they had time down in the bars and the pubs and everything, and they had time to be goofy. So Howard Snyder, um, he actually got in trouble for missing his train and couldn't make it back to base, and so he missed a flight the next day, but it had ended up getting canceled due to weather anyways. But because he was on the basketball team and he was like a star forward, they didn't put him in that much trouble and everything. So like they had basketball leagues, probably softball, like everything. They were doing all sorts of stuff. Like, so them dancing and him singing, like that's real. I don't think it's Hollywooded, and everyone's trying to complain it's Hollywood, but I think that's what they did because them going up the next flight, you never know if your ticket's punched because after so it was 25 flights to get sent home, right? Everybody hears the Memphis Belle. The statistics wise, it was like a 0% chance after 15 flights because that's how many people were getting shot down. Like the
Oh
amount of
well.
people in this book that got shot down on their 25th flight and killed is just crazy. It's so insane that 25 times. That's it. And then pff, most of them weren't getting past 15. And it,
Bloody 25.
yeah. And then in the Masters of the Air on the first flight, you see people getting shot down and everything, which is nuts. Yeah. It's real crazy. Yeah.
Hmm. So you said you haven't watched the new episode?
I haven't. The third episode is out. It says it's coming out on the second, and then it comes out on the first. I don't. I think it might be because of England time. Gotta be. Not sure though. But
What
whatever.
time is it?
For me, it's 10:46.
Oh, I don't know. So it's already out?
Yeah, you could watch it tonight because you're in Hawaii.
Hmm. Oh.
Um, the flak, we talked about that again. For those of you who weren't here, this is a 105 millimeter shell. The flak that they were shooting at the B-17s was 120 or an 88 millimeter, and this is 105 millimeter. So in between um, is this is a good in between of the flak guns that they were shooting and everything. Yes, flak is the anti-aircraft that was exploding, and then I thought the uniforms were good. Uh, so it is true that Buck did wear a different colored sheepskin than everybody else. He had like the older version. He liked to stand out. Um, they had to wear that sheepskin because it's negative 50 degrees up there, or they'd freeze. And they're trusting 1940s electrical systems. They had electrical suits for the ball turret um, eventually, but it's the fucking 40s. I don't know. You're an electrician. Do you trust shit from the 40s?
No.
Exactly.
No.
It's like they're just like fucking put copper in there, bitch, and yeah, it just sounds crazy. Hmm. That
Just a copper coil to keep you warm. That's
yeah.
fucking crazy.
While you're getting shot at, it's fine.
Hey,
It
while you're getting shot at, avoid this energized copper wire that's keeping you warm.
mm. It's nuts that that guy pissed himself in the ball turret and then it froze and he got frostbite all up in his genitals.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's not a great way to stay in shape. I do not suggest it. 0 out of 10 would recommend. No. But the next episode, they're apparently doing bombing run over Africa, is from what the like this on next episode, blah blah blah. what is that called? A preview, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
which is exciting. I've been doing a lot of research on um, Tobruk and El Alamein and all of that, and so I'm excited to see what happens with them out there in Africa. I hope they play
I
toe.
didn't know that they did bombing runs from there.
Yeah, so at first they were using Africa to try that was going to be they were going to have England to attack northern Germany, and then in Africa they were going to fly long-range missions to Romania and Bulgaria to get rid of some of those factories and oil refineries. But then once they took Italy, they had that. They just had to get over the Alps, um,
Hmm.
which I thought was interesting. That was the 15th Air Force. Yeah, I've just been going crazy podcast. Crazy, crazy podcast. But yeah, I think we should do this again after we both watch the third episode, talk about it, and then in the end we'll sit down and talk about the show as a whole. Is there any other things that you thought from the first two episodes? Like, what are your thoughts?
I'll be honest, it made me wish that the Air Force would go to the old greens
Yeah.
or
Whew.
pinks.
Yeah.
Could you
The
imagine we
pickle
went back to
suits.
our roots? You know what I mean?
Way
It'd
too
be
far.
nice.
I think that the dress uniform looks a lot better than what we got. I
Well, that's
hate
what
it.
I'm talking
I
about.
hate our current dress uniform. Go back
Look
to
like
the
a bunch
tan.
of bus drivers.
Look like freaking cheap businessmen. Used car salesmen, if you will.
Sleazy used car salesman.
Yeah. Here's a 1989 Buick with 40,000 miles. 400,000 miles. 40,000 isn't bad. I'd buy the fuck out of that. Slight water damage. It was at the bottom of a river. It was a mob murder vehicle. Nah. Um, I think I am curious to see the scarf that Bucky wears. And I hope that one dude stops throwing up because every time he throws up, I'm like a sympathetic puker, and I'm just
Oh no.
like, bro, fucking stop,
I
stop.
thought it was funny whenever he put it on his head and he was
I'm
yelling that he thought
hit.
he was shot. I'm hit! I'm shot!
It was just fucking vomit, bro. That's so fucking nasty. And now
That's
he's in
like me
charge.
whenever we
Yeah.
play shooters and I'm over here yelling, I'm dead, I'm dead!
Yeah.
Medic!
Fucking
Are you
a.
getting shot at? No, but I'm about to get shot at.
Yeah. No,
It's only. No, go ahead.
I might wear my flight suit for this next one. I do have my flight cap.
Oh god. You.
The
I'm gonna
nice.
be honest. You look like a literal dickhead.
Yeah, that's true. But it's a flight cap. It's got
Pecker cap.
the piece for the headsets. Yeah, I like it. But yeah, I appreciate your time, man. And for
Yeah,
the
man.
two viewers in here, don't know who they are, let's check them out. I appreciate that. Does the chat have any questions? Anybody got anything?
I'm glad I was able to hop on. I saw that
Me
you were
too.
on. You sent me that message, and as soon as you sent me that message, I immediately looked to see if you were on.
So we got you PC Prince. PC Prince is up in here. What's going on, man? If you got anything, let me know. If not, it is Betty Bye time. I'm gonna read a couple chapters in the book, drink some water, probably wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, take a pee because I drink too much water. But I played frisbee today, so I gotta rehydrate. Or I'm gonna wake up with cramps.
Make sure you're doing some electrolytes too.
Electrolytes, it's what plants crave. No, I'm
But
excited.
I'm gonna since it's only 7 o'clock, I'm gonna go watch the new episode, and then
You son of a bitch! My
and then
hands smell like metal.
if you watch it tomorrow, cause you're what 5 hours ahead of me,
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it tomorrow. Maybe we can do something.
or four, um,
Got 4 viewers now.
then yeah, we can talk. We can talk about it. That would be dope.
Anybody in the chat? Quick, you got 30 seconds before I'm hopping off. Just wanted to say, everybody, I think from that one. Hi, Anna.
He says hello. He's streaming, so you can see yourself.
From that one, if I get tank kills, I'm gonna gong
Okay,
this.
chottomate. No, honey. What? Okay, I'll come out there and take a look at it. I'll come take a look. Oh, that's why you yelled. Okay. Okay, mate. Come here, Lucy. Lucy, Neko, come here. Ah, come here. Everybody say hello to Neko.
Assalamu alaikum,
Oh,
Neko-chan.
I'll be there in a second. We're about to finish up.
Okay, let's get out of here. Appreciate everybody. See ya.
Bye. All right, dude.
The one and only J Phrase.
Raid them. Raid them. Give them a raid.
Dang, Bayou, thanks for the raid on the stream.
He's trying to kill you, Mr. Stuka.
Raiding 3, what were you playing? Oh shit.
Is he shooting at you? Oh, he got you. Oh.
Whole bunch over here heading to the north.
I closed the door on the sniper. He closed it, opened it on him so I could shoot him. Just completely threw him off. Those guys going on the little tower up there too.
Who'd you do it with, buddy? Shit. Ooh. Oh shit, artillery. Oh, nice. I didn't know you were actually still gonna do it.
Mr. No Pants Party, that's rude.
It's a little dirty.
No, I don't do.
End the game already. I don't.
Don't call me.
Come on.
Don't call me.
Superbird, I'm